Beneath every layer of Earth lies a story, a secret waiting to be told. Millions of years of human history, locked in fragments of bone, pottery, and stone. But how do we uncover their truth? How do we know when they lived or what they left behind? This is a realm of archaeometry, the science that turns a silent past into a vivid chronicle of humanity. Archaeology is not just digging in the dirt. It is a meticulous symphony of science and history. From the tiniest grain of sand to monumental ruins, every element can reveal secrets if we know how to listen. And that is where archaeological science, or archaeometry, comes in, a bridge between the past and present, where chemistry, physics, and advanced technology converge. One of the most powerful tools in our arsenal is carbon dating. Developed in the mid-20th century, radiocarbon dating allows us to measure the age of organic materials, from a fragment of a prehistoric skull to ancient wooden tools. Every atom tells a story. Every decay marks the passage of centuries. Thanks to this technology, we now know that the ancient city of Catalog in Turkey thrived more than 9,000 years ago, and that the woolly mammoth walked the tundra over 10,000 years before humans mapped their existence in stone. Carbon dating is just the beginning. Modern archaeometry harnesses cutting-edge technology to peer into the past without ever disturbing it. LiDAR reveals cities swallowed by rainforests. Isotope analysis traces diets and migrations of civilizations long gone. CT scans uncover secrets hidden inside mummies. And 3D modeling lets us reconstruct entire worlds lost time. Every discovery reshapes our understanding. Every artifact becomes a portal, a bridge to a life we will never experience, yet can now understand. Today, archaeological science helps preserve humanity's collective memory. Over 200,000 archaeological sites have been mapped worldwide, revealing patterns of migration, climate adaptation, and technological innovation. In some cases, technology has rewritten history. What we thought we knew about ancient trade routes, diet, or culture exchanges has been transformed through isotopic analysis, DNA sequencing, and radiocarbon dating. Archaeometry doesn't just tell us the past, it informs our future. By understanding how ancient societies adapted, innovated, and survived, we can learn valuable lessons for today's world. The past is more than dates and data. It is the story of human resilience, creativity, and curiosity. Archaeometry gives us the tools to reach back across millennia, to touch lives, moments, and memories long gone, yet eternally preserved. Every artifact, every fragment of bone, every atom of carbon is a voice from the past, waiting to be heard through the lens of science. History is not static. It breathes, it speaks, and it teaches. Archaeometry is more than a discipline. It is our connection to humanity's endless story. And as long as we seek, question, and discover, the past will never truly be lost. Beneath the ground we walk on, beneath the fields we cultivate, lie traces of lives that ended thousands of years ago. Every layer of soil is like a page in an ancient book, holding stories that have been waiting patiently to be read. At first glance, it may seem like nothing more than dirt, rocks, and rubble. But for those who know how to look, every shard of pottery, every fragment of bone, every worn tool is a clue, a silent messenger from the past. These remnants are not just objects. They are the echoes of human experience, moments frozen in time, waiting for someone to uncover their secrets. Archaeology is often pictured as people digging holes, brushing away dirt, and carefully lifting artifacts. But it is so much more than that. It is a journey into human memory, an attempt to understand how people lived, what they believed, and how they shaped the world around them. Each discovery adds a new piece to a puzzle that has remained incomplete for centuries. A broken pot may tell the story of daily life in a long-lost village. A carved stone may reveal ancient beliefs, rituals, or technologies. Even the smallest bone fragment can tell us about diet, health, or migration patterns. Every detail matters, because together, they reveal the tapestry of human history. Imagine walking across an open field in Turkey and uncovering a mound of earth. To the casual observer, it might appear ordinary. Yet beneath that unassuming mound lies Catalog, one of the earliest urban centers ever discovered, home to thousands of people over 9,000 years ago. The walls, homes, and artifacts speak volumes about the ingenuity of early humans, how they built their dwellings, how they decorated their walls, and how they lived in harmony with each other and the environment. These are not just facts. They are the intimate details of human life, preserved across millennia. Each discovery like this is a window into the past, a chance to understand ourselves better through the eyes of those who came before us. Every artifact carries with it a story of survival. Take the tools made from stone and bone. They may appear crude at first, but they were carefully crafted to meet the challenges of life at that time. They tell us that humans were problem solvers, innovators, and observers. Even something as simple as a spear point or grinding stone speaks of countless hours of planning, skill, and effort. These objects remind us that innovation is not new. It is a thread woven through human history, connecting ancient hands with our own. But the stories are not only in the objects themselves, they are in their context. Where an object is found, how it is positioned, and what lies around it can reveal far more than the item alone. A broken clay pot buried near a hearth can indicate domestic life, family structures, or food practices. Burial sites, with their carefully arranged bodies and offerings, tell us about beliefs, values, and what people held sacred. Even layers of soil, sediment, and ash can hold clues about climate, disasters, or human adaptation. Each layer is a chapter, each artifact a sentence, and together they form narratives that are waiting to be read, understood, and shared. There is a silent drama to these discoveries. Archaeologists often describe the feeling of uncovering something that has been hidden for centuries as electric, almost like speaking to a person who lived long ago. It is not simply about science or history. It is about human connection. Holding a tool, a pot, or a fragment of bone in your hand, you can feel the pulse of lives that existed before you. The past becomes alive. You realize that people who lived thousands of years ago were not so different from us. They loved, struggled, celebrated, and mourned. They dreamed, and in the fragments they left behind, they reached across time to speak to us. Even the landscapes around these sites carry stories. Ruins on a hill, terraces cut into mountains, ancient irrigation channels. They are all testimonies of human creativity and adaptation. They tell us how civilizations responded to their environment, how they farmed, traded, and built communities. By reading these landscapes carefully, we can understand migration, trade networks, and the rise and fall of entire civilizations. It is a story of endurance and change, of how humans shaped the world and were shaped by it in return. The beauty of archaeological science lies in its ability to make the invisible visible. Even when there is nothing obvious on the surface, the earth itself preserves secrets. Tiny fragments of charcoal can reveal what people cooked. Seeds buried in soil can tell us about the crops they planted. Chemical traces in bones can tell us about nutrition, disease, and mobility. Each discovery brings us closer to understanding the complex, vibrant lives of people who existed long before written history. And it reminds us that history is not just a collection of dates. It is a living, breathing story of humanity itself. In this way, archaeology is not just about the past. It is about connecting generations, honoring human achievement, and understanding the forces that have shaped our world. Every excavation, every careful measurement, every artifact uncovered is a bridge between today and thousands of years ago. And as we begin to listen to these voices from the past, we realize that the stories buried beneath our feet are not silent. They are calling to us, waiting to be discovered, waiting to teach, waiting to inspire. Time has always been a mystery for humanity. We can read books, trace family trees, and study written records. But when it comes to ancient human life, written history only reaches so far. For centuries, archaeologists were left to estimate ages, relying on style, location, or the layers of soil where artifacts were found. These methods gave a rough idea, but true precision was elusive. That all changed with the discovery of radiocarbon dating, a breakthrough that transformed archaeology forever. Radiocarbon dating, often called carbon-14 dating, is a method that allows scientists to measure the age of organic materials. But it is more than a simple measurement. It is a conversation with the past. Every living thing contains carbon, including a small amount of a radioactive isotope known as carbon-14. While alive, plants, animals, and humans maintain a balance of carbon-14 by exchanging it with the environment. But the moment life ends, this exchange stops. The carbon-14 begins to decay, turning slowly into nitrogen. By measuring how much carbon-14 14 remains in a sample, scientists can calculate how long it has been since the organism died. This process may sound simple, but its implications are profound. Imagine holding a piece of wood from an ancient fire, a fragment of bone, or even a woven textile. Each carries a hidden clock, ticking quietly for thousands of years. Through radiocarbon dating, scientists can unlock the exact time when that fire burned, that person lived, or that cloth was worn. It is a method that bridges the gap between the distant past and the present, allowing us to place human history along a precise timeline rather than vague estimates. The power of carbon dating has reshaped what we know about human civilization. For instance, before its development, the age of ancient cities like Jericho or Catalhook was largely speculative. Carbon dating provided hard evidence that these sites were thriving thousands of years earlier than previously believed. Catalhook, once thought to be a simple settlement, was revealed to be a complex, urbanized society more than 9,000 years ago. This single discovery forced historians to rethink the origins of urban life, social organization, and early human innovation. The technology has also been critical in uncovering truths about human evolution and migration. Fossils of early humans, once difficult to place in time, can now be accurately dated. For example, carbon dating has helped identify the timeline of Neanderthals and early Homo sapiens, showing how our species interacted, adapted, and spread across continents. Every date brings clarity to stories that were previously hidden in the shadows of time, transforming our understanding of how humans moved, survived, and shaped the world. One of the most fascinating aspects of carbon dating is its ability to reveal unexpected histories. Organic materials can survive in surprising conditions. Charwood from an ancient hearth, plant remains preserved in peat bogs, or bones protected by dry caves. Even tiny samples, sometimes only milligrams in size, can yield critical insights. A small piece of charcoal can indicate the first controlled use of fire in a region. A fragment of cloth can show the emergence of textile techniques thousands of years earlier than imagined. Each discovery challenges assumptions, forcing us to reconsider what we thought we knew about human creativity and resilience. Moreover, carbon dating is not limited to human artifacts. It has illuminated the timelines of climate change, extinction events, and the spread of agriculture. By dating plant remains, scientists can track when crops were first cultivated and how ancient communities adapted to environmental changes. By dating animal bones, they can understand migrations, hunting practices, and human impact on ecosystems. It is a tool that connects human history to the natural world, revealing the intricate dance between people and their environment. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of radiocarbon dating is the way it transforms ordinary objects into storytellers. A simple wooden spear is no longer just a tool. It becomes a message from a hunter who lived thousands of years ago. A small piece of leather carries the presence of a person, their skill, their choices, and even a world they inhabited. Carbon dating gives us the power to hear these voices with clarity and precision, turning fragments into vivid memories. Yet, beyond the science, there is a profound human element. Carbon dating reminds us that history is not a distant abstraction. It is a living, breathing record of real people who laughed, struggled, dreamed, and created. Every date marks a life, a moment in time, a connection across thousands of years. It is a reminder that even the smallest fragment can hold the weight of centuries, and that understanding the past is a way to understand ourselves. Through radiocarbon dating, the invisible becomes visible, and the silent past begins to speak. It allows us to map timelines with confidence, to connect ancient civilizations, and to trace the evolution of culture and technology. Each discovery builds on the last, creating a story that is not only about objects, but about humanity itself, our ingenuity, our resilience, and our endless curiosity. It is a science that opens doors, uncovers secrets, and illuminates the paths that led to today. And as we continue to refine techniques, as instruments become more sensitive and analysis more precise, the stories we can uncover grow richer and more detailed. The past is no longer locked away in mystery. Through carbon dating, we are able to step into history with clarity, to witness the lives of those who came before us, and understand the unfolding journey of human civilization. Each sample dated is a bridge across time, and each bridge brings us closer to people, places, and moments that shape the world we live in today. In the last few decades, the field of archaeology has been transformed by technology. The work of uncovering the past no longer relies solely on trowels, brushes, and patience. Instead, scientists now use an array of tools that allow them to see, measure, and reconstruct ancient worlds in ways that were unimaginable just a generation ago. These technologies are not just instruments. They are time machines, giving us the ability to explore civilizations that have long vanished, without disturbing the fragile remnants they left behind. One of the most remarkable developments is the use of aerial scanning, particularly through LiDAR technology. Hidden beneath dense forests or thick vegetation, entire cities can remain invisible to the naked eye for centuries. LiDAR, which uses lasers to map the ground in astonishing detail, can reveal walls, roads, and buildings that have been swallowed by nature. In Central America, for example, LiDAR uncovered sprawling Mayan cities beneath the jungle canopy, showing a level of urban complexity that had never been imagined. These discoveries challenge old assumptions about the scale and sophistication of ancient societies, proving that what we see on the surface is often only a fraction of the full story. Drones have also revolutionized fieldwork. Small, unmanned aerial vehicles can capture high-resolution images of sites, map entire landscapes, and detect subtle changes in terrain that might indicate buried structures. This allows archaeologists to survey large areas quickly and safely, reducing the need for invasive digging. With drones, the Earth reveals its secrets layer by layer, guiding researchers to the most promising areas while preserving the delicate balance of the site. In laboratories, advanced imaging techniques offer a window into objects that are impossible to study fully with the naked eye. CT scans, for instance, allow scientists to peer inside mummies, fossils, and other artifacts without damaging them. They can examine bone for signs of disease, trauma, or nutrition. They can study the construction of intricate jewelry or pottery without removing a single fragment. This non-invasive approach has opened doors to discoveries that would have been lost or overlooked in traditional archaeology. Another powerful tool is isotope analysis. By examining tiny chemical signatures in bones, teeth, or plant remains, scientists can uncover diets, migration patterns, and environmental conditions. A tooth from an ancient individual can reveal not just what they ate, but where they traveled, how climate affected their life, and even how cultures interacted through trade. These microscopic clues allow us to understand humans not just as names in a timeline, but as living beings with stories, struggles, and achievements. 3D modeling and printing have brought another layer of understanding. Once a site is scanned, whether with drones, LiDAR, or laser scanning, the data can be used to reconstruct entire buildings, tombs, or settlements in virtual space. Archaeologists can explore these reconstructions as if walking through the past. Students and researchers around the world can study these digital models without being at the site. In some cases, 3D printing allows for creation of exact replicas of fragile artifacts, enabling detailed study and museum display, while preserving the original for posterity. These technologies bridge the gap between science and imagination, transforming two-dimensional photographs into immersive experiences. Even small discoveries benefit from these tools. A fragment of pottery can be scanned to reconstruct the whole vessel digitally. Faded inscriptions can be enhanced to reveal messages written thousands of years ago. Subtle traces of pigment on a wall can be analyzed to recreate ancient murals in vivid color. Each piece of data, no matter how tiny, contributes to a richer, more complete picture of past human life. What makes these technologies particularly exciting is the speed and precision they bring. In the past, uncovering a site could take years or even decades of painstaking work. Today, technology accelerates that process, allowing discoveries to happen faster while preserving fragile evidence. It also enables collaboration across continents. Digital scans, isotopic data, and 3D reconstructions can be shared instantly with experts worldwide, creating a global network of knowledge and insight. The past, once confined to dusty archives and remote dig sites, is now accessible to anyone with curiosity and the tools to explore it. Technology in archaeology is also helping protect heritage. Sites that are at risk from urban development, looting, or natural disasters can be documented in detail before they are damaged. Even when ruins are lost, the data collected ensures that the memory of those places, the stories they tell, and the lessons they hold are preserved. In this way, advanced technologies do more than uncover the past. They safeguard it for the future. What all of these tools share is a common purpose: to reveal the hidden, to turn what was once invisible into something we can see, study, and understand. Technology allows us to listen to the voices of people who lived thousands of years ago, to explore the cities they built, the objects they cherished, and the landscapes they shaped. It is a partnership between human curiosity and the power of innovation, where every discovery adds a new chapter to the story of humanity. And as these tools continue to evolve, the possibilities are endless, from uncovering lost cities to reconstructing daily life in ancient settlements, from understanding migration and trade to seeing the minute details of an artifact. Advanced archaeological technologies are changing the way we experience history. They remind us that the past is not gone. It is waiting just beneath the surface, ready to be revealed, understood, and celebrated. Through these innovations, we are not simply observing history. We are stepping into it, walking alongside those who came before us, and discovering the ingenuity, resilience, and creativity that have shaped the human story. Technology does not replace curiosity, it amplifies it. And in doing so, it ensures that the voices of the past continue to be heard, guiding us toward a deeper understanding of who we are and where we come from. The stories of the past are not always what they seem. For centuries, historians and archaeologists relied on written records, oral traditions, and visible remains to piece together the narrative of human civilization. Yet even the most careful observations were sometimes incomplete or misleading. A site might appear to belong to one period, a tool might seem simple, or an inscription might be misinterpreted. It was easy to assume that history was set in stone, that the past could be neatly labeled and categorized. But with the rise of archaeometry, a new kind of precision emerged, a way to test assumptions, correct errors, and reveal truths that had remained hidden for centuries. Archaeometry, or the application of scientific techniques to archaeology, allows us to examine artifacts, structures, and even soil in ways that were once impossible. By combining physics, chemistry, and biology, researchers can uncover subtle details that reveal the true context of discoveries. For example, a pottery shard may carry traces of organic material that tells us what it once contained, or microscopic were patterns that indicate how it was used. Stone tools can be analyzed for the type of rock and the methods used to shape them, revealing technological knowledge and trade connections that were previously unknown. In every case, science helps us move beyond assumption and toward evidence. One of the most powerful contributions of archaeometry is its ability to correct historical timelines. In many cases, traditional archaeology suggested one story, but scientific analysis provided another. Radiocarbon dating, for instance, has shifted our understanding of when certain civilizations emerged, flourished, or declined. Sites that were once thought to belong to a later period have been shown to be far older. Conversely, some artifacts were discovered to be younger than initially believed, reshaping the sequence of events. Each correction not only refines our historical knowledge, but also deepens our understanding of human development, adaptation, and innovation over time. Archaeometry also shines a light on human behavior and culture in ways that mere observation cannot. Isotope analysis, for instance, can reveal the diets of ancient populations, showing what people ate, where their food came from, and even how communities interacted with the environment. Chemical residues on pottery can reveal the presence of spices, oils, or fermented beverages, offering a glimpse into daily life and cultural practices. DNA analysis can trace lineage, migration, and interactions between groups, uncovering connections that were once invisible. Every piece of data adds nuance, allowing us to see past societies not as static monuments, but as living, breathing communities. Sometimes, the revelations are unexpected and even transformative. Ancient trade routes have been reconstructed based on chemical traces and materials, showing that distant civilizations were connected far earlier than written records suggested. Burial sites have been reinterpreted through scientific examination, revealing social hierarchies, gender roles, and spiritual beliefs that had gone unnoticed. Even the landscapes themselves tell stories. Sediment analysis can uncover floods, droughts, and other events that shape human settlement and migration. Archaeometry allows us to listen to these stories, to hear the whispers of the past with clarity and confidence. The value of archaeometry extends beyond discovery. It ensures accuracy, reliability, and integrity in the study of history. In a world where myths and assumptions can easily become accepted as fact, scientific analysis provides a check against error. By grounding conclusions in measurable evidence, archaeometry gives historians a firm foundation on which to build narratives. It transforms guesswork into knowledge and speculation into understanding, creating a clearer, more truthful picture of the human journey. Moreover, archaeometry demonstrates that the past is dynamic, not fixed. New techniques, better instruments, and more sophisticated analysis continually refine our understanding. What was once accepted as history can change in light of new evidence. A previously unknown civilization may emerge, a timeline may shift, or the purpose of an artifact may be revealed in a completely unexpected way. This constant refinement reminds us that history is a living field of inquiry, evolving as our ability to study it grows. Beyond the science itself, there is a human story in the pursuit of accuracy. Each correction, each discovery, is a result of careful observation, curiosity, and persistence. Scientists spend years analyzing samples, testing hypotheses, and challenging assumptions. The meticulous work ensures that when we tell the story of the past, we do so with confidence and respect for the people who lived it. Their lives, choices, and experiences are no longer hidden behind misinterpretations or incomplete records. They can be seen, understood, and appreciated. Archaeometry also invites us to reconsider what we value as evidence. Objects that might have seemed insignificant, a fragment of pottery, a few grains of plant matter, or a tiny piece of metal, can suddenly become pivotal. The smallest detail, when studied scientifically, can alter our understanding of an entire culture. It reminds us that history is not only written in grand monuments or famous battles, but in the ordinary, everyday actions of people who built, crafted, and lived in ways both familiar and strange. Ultimately, archaeometry bridges the gap between speculation and certainty. It allows us to honor the past by seeking truth rather than assumption. It teaches us that history is not a static story, but a conversation across time, a dialogue between what once was and what we now can discover. By applying science to archaeology, we illuminate the hidden threads of human experience, bringing clarity, depth, and integrity to the story of our collective journey. In doing so, we learn not just about the past, but about ourselves, our creativity, our resilience, and our endless desire to understand the world we inherit. The world we live in today is shaped by countless generations that came before us. Every culture, every invention, every decision made by our ancestors contributed to the foundation of modern society. Yet for much of human history, the knowledge of these past societies remained fragmented, scattered, or hidden beneath layers of earth. Archaeological science has changed that. Through careful study, advanced technology, and scientific analysis, archaeologists are mapping not only individual sites, but also the patterns of human civilization across the globe. This work has revealed a story far more interconnected than anyone had imagined. More than 200,000 archaeological sites have been documented worldwide, from the desert of Egypt to the jungles of Central America, from the frozen tundras of Siberia to the islands of the Pacific. Each site, each artifact, contributes to a broader understanding of human history. By studying these sites collectively, scientists can identify patterns in trade, migration, technology, and social organization. They can see how ancient societies interacted with each other, shared knowledge, and adapted to challenges. The discoveries are not isolated. They form a global network of human experience, connecting continents and centuries in ways that were previously invisible. One of the most profound contributions of archaeological science is its ability to illustrate human adaptation. Through isotopic analysis, soil studies, and radiocarbon dating, scientists have been able to trace how civilizations responded to changes in climate, resource availability, and population pressures. For example, ancient societies that flourished along river valleys had to adapt to periodic floods, while those in arid regions developed irrigation techniques to sustain crops. These findings not only reveal the ingenuity of our ancestors, but also offer lessons for the modern world, demonstrating how humans can survive and thrive under challenging conditions. Trade networks are another area where global connections have been illuminated. Archaeometric studies of metals, pottery, and other materials reveal that long-distance exchange existed far earlier than previously thought. A single artifact may have traveled hundreds or even thousands of miles, passing through multiple civilizations before reaching its final resting place. Chemical analysis can identify the origin of raw materials, showing how ancient people were connected across continents through commerce, communication, and cultural exchange. These discoveries challenge the notion that early societies were isolated and highlight a long history of collaboration and innovation that shaped the development of human civilization. The impact of archaeological science also reaches deeply into our understanding of migration and cultural interaction. DNA analysis and isotope studies allow scientists to trace the movement of peoples across regions, revealing migrations, conquests, and settlements that left traces in both genes and culture. Ancient populations that were once thought to be disconnected are now understood to have shared ideas, technologies, and even traditions. These insights demonstrate that human history is not a series of isolated events, but a continuous narrative of interaction, adaptation, and growth. In addition, archaeological science has reshaped our understanding of technology and innovation in the past. By analyzing tools, building techniques, and materials, scientists can identify when and where key developments occurred. For instance, the early use of metallurgy, the creation of advanced irrigation systems, or the construction of monumental architecture can now be traced with surprising accuracy. This allows us to see not only the achievements of individual societies, but also how knowledge spread, evolved, and influenced other cultures across the globe. Each discovery adds depth to the story of human creativity and progress. Beyond these global insights, archaeological science also has a profound impact on preserving cultural heritage. Many sites are under threat from urban expansion, climate change, and looting. Scientific documentation, including 3D scanning, aerial mapping, and chemical analysis, ensures that these treasures are recorded, studied, and protected for future generations. Even if a site is damaged or lost, the knowledge gained from careful study preserves its story. In this way, archaeological science acts as both a bridge to the past and a safeguard for the future. The global nature of these discoveries also fosters collaboration. Archaeologists, chemists, biologists, and historians from different countries work together to share data, interpret findings, and build a more complete understanding of human history. Modern technology allows research teams separated by thousands of miles to examine the same digital models, compare results, and reach consensus on interpretations. History becomes a shared endeavor, a collective effort to understand humanity in its fullest sense. Ultimately, the global impact of archaeological science is not limited to knowledge alone. It shapes how we see ourselves and our place in the world. Understanding the successes, failures, and resilience of past civilizations encourages reflection, empathy, and a sense of continuity. We begin to see that our struggles, our achievements, and our innovations are part of a long, ongoing story of human experience. Each artifact, each site, and each analysis adds a new chapter, enriching our understanding and inspiring a deeper respect for the ingenuity and resilience of those who came before us. Archaeological science demonstrates that the past is not confined to history books or museum displays. It is alive in the patterns of human behavior, in the traces left on the earth, and in the knowledge we continue to uncover. By studying the global impact of past societies, we gain insight into how humans have navigated challenges, exchanged ideas, and built the foundations of the modern world. This work does more than illuminate the past. It helps us understand our present and guides us toward a future informed by the lessons of those who walked the earth long before us. Every artifact we uncover, every ruin we study, and every fragment of history we analyze carries more than scientific or cultural value. It carries the story of human life itself. Beyond dates, measurements, and chemical compositions, there's a deeply personal connection that links us to the people who came before. Archaeology, at its core, is about understanding lives, how people thought, how they created, and how they experienced the world. It is a bridge across time, reminding us that the humans of the past were not so different from ourselves. When a team uncovers a pottery shard, it is more than a broken piece of clay. It is the remnant of a hand that shaped it, a family that used it, and a culture that valued it. Perhaps it once held food, water, or offerings for a ritual. Perhaps it was passed down through generations. In that simple object, we find traces of daily life, of work and play, of survival and celebration. It is an intimate connection to people whose names are lost, whose faces we may never see, yet whose presence we can feel through the evidence they left behind. Even human remains, when studied carefully, tell powerful stories. Bones carry information about diet, health, injury, and disease. They reveal how people adapted to their environment, what challenges they faced, and how they endured. Scientists can determine whether individuals lived in cities or traveled across continents. They can understand the hardships and triumphs of everyday life, the choices that shape survival, and the ways in which societies care for their members. In this way, the past becomes a mirror, reflecting not only the differences between us and ancient peoples, but also the threads of shared humanity. Archaeological sites themselves are like stages on which history unfolds. The layout of homes, streets, and public spaces shows how people organize their communities. Temples, tombs, and monuments reflect their beliefs and values. Even the smallest details, such as the placement of tools or the remnants of a hearth, reveal patterns of behavior, priorities, and social structures. Walking through these sites, even in imagination, we can sense the rhythm of ancient life. We can imagine children playing, artisans crafting, and families gathering. The past becomes alive, not as abstract knowledge, but as a lived experience. Technology enhances this connection in ways that make history tangible. 3D reconstructions of ruins allow us to walk through ancient cities and buildings as they once stood. Virtual reality and interactive models bring long-lost worlds to life, allowing us to understand spatial arrangements, architectural techniques, and daily routines. Even when sites are inaccessible due to geography or fragility, digital tools let us experience them as though we were there, providing a visceral sense of continuity between past and present. The emotional resonance of archaeology is further amplified by discoveries that reveal personal stories. Burials with carefully placed offerings, inscriptions recording names and events, or preserved artifacts that once belonged to an individual offer glimpses of human lives in remarkable detail. These discoveries remind us that history is not just a collection of dates or civilizations. It is a story of individual experiences, of triumph and loss, of creativity and curiosity. Every artifact becomes a voice, and archaeometry allows us to hear those voices clearly, bridging the gap of centuries. What makes this connection profound is the sense of continuity it creates. The tools, buildings, and objects we study were made by people who faced challenges similar to ours. They built homes, solved problems, raised families, and sought meaning in their lives. By studying the past scientifically and carefully, we recognize that our struggles and achievements are part of a long, ongoing human story. This perspective encourages empathy, reflection, and a deeper appreciation for human resilience. Archaeological science also fosters a personal sense of discovery. When scientists analyze an artifact, they are not simply recording information. They are interacting with history. They reconstruct moments in time, interpret behavior, and imagine daily life. The process is as much about human imagination and curiosity as it is about evidence. This interaction creates a dialogue with the past, allowing us to connect emotionally as well as intellectually. Each discovery strengthens our understanding of what it meant to be human across time and space. Moreover, this connection inspires a responsibility to preserve and honor the past. The evidence we uncover is fragile and irreplaceable. Archaeological science teaches us to handle artifacts, human remains, and sites with care, recognizing that they are not only data points but traces of lives that once were. Preservation becomes a moral as well as scientific imperative, a promise that the stories of past generations will continue to be accessible and meaningful for the generations to come. Ultimately, the human connection to the past is what makes archaeology more than research. It makes it a shared journey. Through each artifact, each site, and each discovery, we see the creativity, resilience, and curiosity that define humanity. We are reminded that people who lived thousands of years ago were thinkers, problem solvers, and dreamers, just as we are today. By listening to their stories, we gain insight into our own lives, our culture, and our place in the world. In the end, archaeological science does more than uncover objects or map timelines. It allows us to touch the intangible, to feel the presence of those who walked the earth long before us. It reminds us that the past is not distant or dead. It is alive in the objects, the ruins, and the evidence we study. It is alive in the lessons it offers, the stories it tells, and the connections it creates across generations. Every discovery, no matter how small, is a bridge linking us to lives once lived, voices once heard, and worlds once experienced. Through these connections, history becomes not just something we study, but something we share, something that shapes our understanding, and something that inspires wonder, respect, and curiosity for the journey of humanity. As we step back from the soil, the ruins, and the artifacts, one truth becomes clear. The past is never truly gone. It whispers through every fragment of pottery, every bone, every stone structure carefully unearthed. It calls to us not merely as historians or scientists, but as humans seeking connection, understanding, and meaning. Every discovery we make is a bridge across time, linking our lives to the lives of those who walked this earth long before us. We can trace their struggles, their triumphs, and their creativity. We can see how they adapted, how they thrived, and how they imagined the world around them. Archaeology is more than excavation. It is a conversation with the past. Each method, from carbon dating to advanced imaging, is a key that unlocks stories once thought lost. Every artifact becomes a storyteller. Every site a stage on which history unfolds. And as we uncover these truths, we begin to understand not just who came before, but who we are and the legacy we carry forward. The echoes of the past are waiting, silent yet persistent, reminding us that history is not static. It lives, it teaches, and it inspires. The question is not just what we can learn, but how we will use that knowledge to honor, preserve, and continue the story of humanity.